Yeah.
As a macro, how do you view AI?
I view it as the ultimate tool to move industries at speeds you can't even fathom. I just thought I was the man having like 4 or 5 businesses going and none of them making money. 95% of what you see on social media is complete BS. Go all in on one thing, and then the other opportunities start to unlock themselves. And when you cross, I'm going to say the level is about $1 million in business, it is not you, it's your team.
That's right.
And it's your culture, and it's what you stand for. I want it to be the person that creates opportunity and creates jobs, which then creates wealth, and that I was worthy of it was a big part of it. And people, so to your point about the lottery winners, they have an element of, I didn't deserve this. And when you have, the ceiling mentally that you're worth, I'm just going to pick a number, 100,000 a year. If you do not grow mentally to the capacity of having millions, you will be back to the 100,000 mark very fast. If your thermostat's at 75, but you're playing at 110 degrees, you're going to be back at 75.
It's true.
And so the worthiness element of the mental, I'm going to achieve this and this is why, and I am worthy of it, and I'm going to do good and I'm going to do great, is a huge, huge foundation that you have to establish.
Welcome to the show, Devin.
Hey, what's going on, Jeff?
Thank you so much for coming out.
I appreciate it for hosting me out here.
Absolutely, and a fellow girl dad, so
That's
I
right.
have nothing but respect.
2 of them, so
Yeah, of course.
it's a grind that never stops.
But aren't they the best?
They're the best.
I mean,
Absolutely.
business aside, there's nothing like daughters.
Yeah, it's 3-on-1 with the wifey, but we're learning how to cope with it. I'm newer in my journey. They're young, 3-and-1, but my daughter told me I was full of shit last week, so I think I'm climbing up the ranks of learning how this is going to go.
Well, what you'll learn as they get older is you don't know anything.
They know everything.
That's what you'll learn. And it's easier to say yes, dear.
Yeah. And here's the Amex.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah. Amazon, Amex, they're both going to start sending you holiday gifts.
Yeah, right.
And you'll learn to buy stock in them, a lot of it, because you're going to make money for them and you.
Yeah.
But seriously, thank you so much for coming, because what I am fascinated to get into is, this is all about success formula, and your journey is more in the tech world.
Yep.
From Connected, which you sold, and for those obviously in the bio, everybody's heard about it, but we'll get a little bit into it. But you're transition now into AI, and in a way self-taught, because you don't have formal, collegiate master's schooling. You're the backstory of just being a hustler in high school and all the way through. You have had to develop a model that has allowed you to be successful, even though you've, like all entrepreneurs and everyone who does anything, have failed over and over and over again.
Yep.
But it didn't stop you, right? And here you are embracing, because we're at this pivotal moment in the world. AI has been talked about for years, has been used in some form for years, even though most of us didn't realize it. The algorithms that social media and Amazon and search engines have been using is a form of AI. But now we are leaning heavy into AI.
Yes.
And it is in some form, in some people's fears, replacing humans and old jobs. And I try to explain to them, it's kind of like the horse and carriage to the automobile. It's not replacing jobs, it's changing jobs. It's changing how we work. How do you, before we get into sales AI, specifically your company, as a macro, how do you view AI?
I view it as the ultimate tool to move industries at speeds you can't even fathom forward. I look at it as, we have had the computer, the internet, the digital transformation to the cloud, and now you have the AI transformation, which is the most transformed of technology you'll ever see year to year, right? Like the cloud and digital transformation took 5 years, 10 years and some businesses are still trying to catch up to it. But AI, when you lean into it and you start to learn about it, it's just helping you grow your business at speeds that you can't even really understand.
So for a lot of people listening, they hear the word AI, they think they know what it means.
Yeah.
Right? Artificial intelligence. Like what does that mean specifically? And I don't mean technically, like to the layman, how would you explain AI, let's say, to my 12-year-old daughter?
Yeah. So artificial intelligence is the ability to take information and produce results in multiple forms or multiple outcomes and create solutions with those solutions in seconds versus you really struggling to understand how to read a P&L or how to analyze a business situation or, I mean, even like how to cook. I mean,
Sure.
anything, right? It's the first form of technology that 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. It's 1 + 1 equals all these possible outcomes, right? And it's still slightly unknown exactly how it's being replicated because, you know, AI has actually been around in commercial use since 1999. And technology back then is not what we have now, but the foundation of AI was built in a time that it was way ahead of itself. So, but the average person, it's, I have this question or problem, and AI spits out results and opportunities to solve it.
Sure. Now, how did you identify the opportunity for sales.ai? Like what did you see that made you go, oh my gosh, light bulb?
Yeah, so when we were running Connected, it was a cold lead generation platform. It utilized a couple platforms, but a big focus on LinkedIn to do cold outreach and to generate either recruiting sales leads or just general conversations to, you know, build your network. And we had identified that as we were building that business, that businesses didn't only have a lead generation problem, they had a conversion problem. So the foundation of Sales AI started with how do we make this so easy from lead to opportunity without a human having to step in. And so then uncovering AI, the possibilities, you know, ChatGPT hit the market aggressively, as we know, and I believe it's October of 2022 when ChatGPT released. And I was like, well, the technology's here, it's accessible. And so I'm just a who, not how, you know, problem away from being able to figure this out. And so went on, I would say I'm a professional recruiter at this point. When got a new head of engineering stateside. He actually lives in San Diego, believe it or not. And pitched him, convinced him to leave Google. He was there 8 years. And he joined the team, and we went off, and Sales AI was starting to get built a couple years before Selling Connected. And we were training it. We had all this lead data, all this conversational data. So we started training on how to drive certain outcomes based on sales, support, recruiting, et cetera, all these different scenarios, right? But it started with understanding that businesses really struggled with conversion.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, okay. Now, obviously, this is not a technical show, and I don't want to get too technical. So as you think about AI, it touches every industry.
Mm-hmm.
It will remove the necessity for as many human beings to do legwork,
Yes.
the next layer. There's a point where AI, there will be humans, and technology does replace human beings, right? When you think about farming, the invention of all of those farming technology tools and the automation that runs and plows fields now, you need less people plowing fields, right? So it's inevitable that as technology progresses, people aren't needed to do those mundane things. But now AI is really getting into the nuance. Like, I mean, we were chatting, and I asked you off air about how good is the sales capability of a sales AI
Agent.
Thank you. You know, my background, sports agent, sales, sold stuff my whole life. So now we're getting into what makes a good salesperson versus a sales AI agent. And does it have that ability to feed and feel the room, right? Because sales isn't just regurgitating read information,
Right.
which ChatGPT available to the masses for the most part has been. There's more, but they haven't released it all, right? Today, like you said, I go into ChatGPT, I say, who is, you know, Devin Johnson? It will give me an answer up to a point of what's out there.
Right.
But when you get into the artistic side of sales or the nuance of sales, how are you bridging that gap? Is it you figured out something that's not there yet, or is the technology available? We just through ChatGPT don't realize it.
Yeah. So with the public AI of just chat, most people just know ChatGPT.
Yep.
There's other large language models out there, but you're familiar with just asking questions and getting it back. But the technology is out there to create very specific outcomes with artificial intelligence. What we developed was the same simple interface that ChatGPT gave to the world of, I want to use AI, but I don't even know where to begin. And they give you an awesome solution.
Yep.
We did that for slightly more advanced users that want to be early adopters. So we spent a lot of our R&D and our time on the user interface, user experience, and our what is called a service layer inside the technology. Meaning we want you to take the least amount of brain power to have AI working in your business. And then the disclaimer would be, you still have to be a smart individual to use our platform. It still is a technology platform.
Still a tool, you're saying. It's not a replacement.
It's not a replacement when it comes to setting it up. It is a replacement once you're comfortable and competent that the platform is where you want it to be. But it is still, you have to give it inputs and outputs to get it to understand. You asked a question, does the AI understand emotions or can it read the room? It actually can. And it can remember conversations and it can regurgitate, if you said this event happened in your life, it can bring it back up. It's wild what is in front of us. And we're talking about a very specific type of AI, which is generative AI, right? There's multiple types of artificial intelligence, and generative AI is the play of emotions and very human-like experience, and that's what we brought into the platform. And so we use our custom-built service layer, and then we do a lot of override calls, which means we do, extra feedback loops with Gemini. So we use the Google infrastructure, right?
Yep.
And so between that and our little secret sauce that we developed, it made it very simple to be able to stand up what we call an agent to work in your business. And, the big dogs, Salesforce, Microsoft, HubSpot, all of the big dogs are claiming 2025 as the year of the agent. All conferences announced that that's their focus. And so we were just early, fast, and was able to get into market pretty quick.
So I want to touch on those last three things you just said, because that's more what my show's about and what I believe is success driven. Before we do, how would you see, because I have you and we're going to chat.
Yeah.
How would you see sales AI? For example, I have Everbowl, right? And we sell franchises. We sell acai bowls and superfoods, through a physical retail location. I have WeBuild, which is a manufacturing construction company where we work for some of the biggest brands in America, helping them scale. How would I use sales AI for one or both of those two companies?
Let's stick with Everbowl,
Sure.
because I've had the experience of Everbowl personally.
Yeah.
I would use it from a customer support perspective to start. So meaning call ahead orders, calling again basic information. Right now you're having someone man that at the physical location.
Yep.
Whereas you can create AI agents to be able to give more information than maybe the 19-year-old that's working the front counter could give, and consistent information, so you're not misrepresenting anything. I would start with Everbowl on the customer support side.
Yep.
But then when you look more on the corporate side, your franchise sales, so an opt-in comes in from one of your podcasts or something, and it hits the CRM. Maybe it's taken 3 hours for them to get contacted back. AI can instantly work that lead within seconds, qualify them. So, hey, do you have, your net worth requirements to afford a store or so on and so forth?
Go through the checklist.
Go through the checklist, right? And then set it to a closer, an account executive that can actually push that across the finish line.
Okay.
We focus on the setting of appointments, not the full sales cycle. Generative AI is really good on the qualification side right now, and it can read the room and it understands emotions, but the world has a lot of value in a very talented account executive that's selling high ticket.
Yeah, of course.
Right. So we do not claim.
So you're not closing. You're basically getting into the red zone.
That's
Football
right.
analogy.
Yeah, we actually have a red zone area in our CRM.
Yeah.
So yes, we get it to the red zone, and we also do a lot of customer support.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And then how would a brand like mine, because a lot of the people listening today have traditional physical businesses, whether they're restaurants, service-based businesses, and they may be like, oh my gosh, can I use this tool? How does it, because ChatGPT currently doesn't really have a you use and pay. How do you get paid?
Yeah.
And how much would it cost a brand like me to utilize this technology?
Just the voice capability. So if you looked at us for using, let's say, your Google My Business call-in number and your customer support. So starts at $1,000 a month, and that includes 2,000 talk minutes. So you're going to spend 12,000 with us for the year, but most businesses don't burn up the 2,000 minutes. And then to do text and email, you're going to spend around 25,000 a year with us. Additional
or included?
All in.
Yep.
So you're going to be about 25,000 a year. And then for high use cases, like let's say you're ripping 100,000 calls a month or so, there's minute packages that helps that be much more affordable. So the way it's structured is a platform fee, and then usage of minutes, text messages, and emails beyond the platform fee.
And to help bridge the gap, because some people who are new entrepreneurs, small businesses, they go, 25,000, I can't afford that. It replaces the need for some human capital. So you have to offset that cost against what current people that you're paying can now do other tasks.
That's right.
Move your business forward. So it's a technology investment. But you going back to what I'm more fascinated on is you said we were fast.
Mm-hmm.
You've been successful.
Yeah.
Very successful. At a young age, young guy, congratulations.
I appreciate it.
I believe success is a formula. And when you figure out that formula, you can duplicate it. And based on me knowing your backstory, and we just met in person today, but I did some reading and homework and digging, and I'm excited to know you moving into the future. You have a similar journey to most people I know, which is you stumbled, you found a mentor, they cleared the fog, you now realized, oh my gosh, I was just doing this wrong, and adjusted and pivoted, and then now you have an abundant mindset that has allowed you to create success again and again and again in different things. My goal in life now at this point is to help as many people as I can clear the fog. I can't be a mentor to everybody one-on-one, but through this show and through these kinds of conversations, we can expose more human beings to what that is. Because some friends of mine have a great saying, exposure leads to expansion, and you got to give them the exposure.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you had a mentor who did that for you.
Yeah.
What do you think, how would you explain to me your success formula? What did they show you? What did you learn that changed your entire trajectory in life?
I would say some of the biggest early changes was I had an ego coming out of school. I had a small hint of high school, by the way, where I had racked up, 100,000 saved up selling shoes. I just thought I was like the man and everything in a bag of chips, and so I had this massive ego that I thought I had everything figured out. So, getting into some principles, like it first started by tearing down the ego, right? And being open to, like, I can learn from you and I can learn from someone that's day one in business, right? And it's kind of like the old school, janitor, he's just a janitor in the school, but yet he was, had a 30-year career and can teach you all kinds of things, right?
You're going to learn that you can also learn from your daughter.
That's right. Yeah. And I am a lot, actually. But so after we tore down the ego, it was getting into who I actually was, what I actually stood for, and having a set of core values that I didn't deviate from. Right. And, mine were very simple to start with. It's like, I won't make a dirty dollar. Right. Growing up, I had parents that my mom kept her hands clean. My dad was a drug dealer. So, it was the money and the what I did see at a young age was dirty. It was wrong, right? And so, never make a dirty dollar. My word is my bond. So, being able to commit to you and then over deliver, even if I fail, owning it in every aspect, and then tied it down with some faith, right? I was led to my faith walk at 18 and made that my third pillar, right? And so I took those basic principles and it molded me into very consistent and knowing what I stood for. And I think a lot of people, they get into an early game of comparison. So they get into Instagram and listen, I post some of this stuff myself. So they get into, well, this guy's got a Lambo and he's 27, right? And I'm 30 and I can't even afford rent. And so they get into this comparison game.
Sure.
They get so far away from their identity and they say, well, he's making his money in software, so I'm going to jump into software. And so getting into like a fourth pillar of success after the basics were covered was focus for me, right? I don't know about you, but I mean, I just thought I was the man having like 4 or 5 businesses going and none of them making money, and none of them making a dollar, and just thought I just just had it going on. And so kind of a course correction after I got my ego and personality in check and what I stood for, understanding that go all in on one thing and then the other opportunities start to unlock themselves. And I don't care what it is, right? I don't care if it's not sexy or glamorous. Remove the comparison of what you see on social media. I will be the first to tell you, and you have more of these friends than I do, from what I know. It's like 95% of what you see on social media is complete BS as far as
Absolutely.
the lifestyles and what people are putting on and putting out. And
For that reason, I don't post anything about personal wealth, personal possessions.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to mislead people to think whether I have $1 or I have $100 billion,
yeah,
that's mine.
yeah, yeah.
What does that matter?
And-
I ain't giving it to you, so me showing it to you doesn't mean anything.
And people get I was a victim of this early on, right? Like, how's he able to do this? And then you look at the industry and then you're like, I need to start a business doing that, right? And so people get, I say, lost in the sauce when it comes to this comparison game.
Yep.
And social media is a fantastic tool, but I see it stunts the growth of these entrepreneurs and people just getting started in business because they're constantly like, like looking at us. They don't understand that I have a decade under my belt. You have 30 years under your belt, and they just see the wins on the surface, and they're just like, how do they always just win? And
You know what social media to me is? It's taking the high school lunch area
yeah,
and brought it to the grown-up world.
yes,
Where
yeah.
it's like, oh my God, look at
that's
her
well
or
said.
his outfit, and they're the cool kids. And what they don't understand is social media is a snapshot picture.
Yeah,
I can pose in front of Jeff Bezos's brand new yacht and pretend it's mine.
yeah,
I can also pose in front of my own yacht and it is mine. Either way, that doesn't help you, who's ever seeing me on social media, achieve your own goals. And if they're only financial,
yeah,
which is also what seems to drive the most, right? It's either sexy body and you're selling sex or you're selling possessions,
yes,
wealth. We all want wealth, right? It's America. We're all in business. This is a business show. I want to be a multi-billionaire. I'm not there yet. I've made millions. I'm not a billionaire.
That's
So
right.
yes, I can look at Jeff Bezos and go, gosh, I want all that. Of course you can. But what I'm trying to do, and with what you're talking about and what you guys have to do, is learn how to become the person who can generate and create that wealth. Because the most important thing to know is a huge percentage, and I don't want to butcher it and make up some percentage here, but I've read it, and it's very north of 60% of people who win the lottery lose it all.
yeah. I actually think it's over 80%.
Yeah, I saw it. I just don't remember the number. And the science behind it is not because, well, why is that? It's the same reason why a lot of professional athletes lose their money. They are not the person independently. Because they accumulated wealth like the lottery in the blink of an eye,
yeah.
they aren't the person who could have created it, so they don't know how to retain it.
That's right. I didn't go far into it, but I was talking about that early foundation of identity.
Yep.
Understanding that I wanted to be the person that creates opportunity and creates jobs, which then creates wealth, and that I was worthy of it was a big part of it. And in people, so to your point about the lottery winners, they have an element of, I didn't deserve this. And when you have, the ceiling mentally that you're worth, I'm just going to pick a number, 100,000 a year. If you do not grow mentally to the capacity of having millions, you will be back to the 100,000 mark very fast.
Absolutely.
Because your subconscious mind is the most powerful weapon there is. And I know, I don't want to get into like a bunch of like, mentality, meditation crap,
Why not?
but the subconscious mind dictates your thermostat. And I'm taking these words that were well said out of Ed Milet. He talks about the thermostat in the room. Like, if your thermostat's at 75, but you're playing at 110 degrees, you're going to be back at 75.
It's true.
And so the worthiness element of the mental, I'm going to achieve this, and this is why, and I am worthy of it, and I'm going to do good, and I'm going to do great, is a huge, huge foundation that you have to establish. How many entrepreneurs have you met in your last journey, in this journey, that had everything going for them, and now they're back to zero?
A huge percentage.
It's like the lottery winners, right?
Yes.
It's because they get lost in the sauce, they get in the game of comparison, they chase possessions, they get away from who they actually, they get away from who they actually are. Before you know it, when everything's up and to the right, everyone's your friend. But when it gets down into tough business, and listen, if you don't have any tough spots, you're not in business. But anyways,
you're not. Well, and I think you just nailed on hit something very important, right? There's the evolution. So there's the up and comers, right? Those of you who are watching and listening who are saying, I'm on the beginning side of my journey. I've yet to achieve any kind of success professionally. Maybe I make 50 grand, 100 grand, 200 grand, but I haven't made $1 million, or my business hasn't done. Okay, that's great. So you're grinding. And then you do it. And then what do you do next? And so I have to share this with every single person in my companies since I was 24 years old. Well, no, I learned it later, 30 years old, let's say.
Sure.
They'd come for a raise or a promotion. And I would always sit them down and I would say, listen, I'm going to give you the raise because you deserve it and a promotion. You've got a new role now. If you bring the same level of work that you did yesterday to this new role, you're going to get fired.
Yep.
Because you were the star in high school. We're now in college. You're competing against all stars in high school. I expect you to grow into the person who should dominate this new role because it's the next layer up.
That's right.
And it continues, and it's true for me too. As I grow as a CEO and a founder and a leader, if I do the same things I did 2 years ago,
you wouldn't be here.
I'm going to fail today. And I'm going to let my investors down, my team members down, my clients down, etc.
Yes.
I need to be always learning, right? The thirst for knowledge is how we stay ahead of the game. That's why I asked you the question selfishly, how could I use sales AI for my own companies? Because today I don't.
Right.
And if I don't, I can choose not to. I can look at it and say, you know what, Devin, this isn't for me. But I need to look into it. I need to know, and it needs to be coming from a position of education, of knowledge, of awareness as to how these tools or how these opportunities work. It's true with all sides of entrepreneurship and business and life. Because the lessons you're talking about don't just apply to business. It applies to your health, your faith, how you do anything.
It's how you do everything.
That's right.
I mean, dude, early in my entrepreneurship journey, I got over 300 pounds.
No way.
Yes.
Wow.
It was McDonald's and Papa John's for like a year and a half got me there. Like, they knew my order at McDonald's. It was bad. Okay. 2 McChickens, small fry.
We're going to get you a gift card to Everbowl. That's all you're eating.
Listen, I'm 216 as of this morning, and
you look great.
Back in shape. But yeah, I mean, when you get away from who you actually are and what you stand for, I mean, that's just your health goes. I mean, everything just goes. And so I would just encourage young business people, lock into who you are and stand for what you stand for. Stay focused and stay consistent. And stop jumping around. The shiny object syndrome you will go broke.
That's right.
Chasing shiny objects.
And I will touch on, because I get asked a lot, I have a lot of companies. I talk about serial entrepreneurship, so it looks like I have entrepreneurial ADD, and I have the curse of always liking to look at shining objects, right?
Sure.
I do focus on what I do, but it's about identifying who you are, because your formula works for people who have your natural characteristics of mindset, approach, your personality, etc. Mine worked for me. We might have overlap. We might have conflicting. One size does not fit all.
It doesn't.
But you got to identify. You got to identify the formula that works for you. So because I know that I have shiny object syndrome, I go 100% focus on my company. I create a team to help continue it. So it allows me to then lean into the fact that I may chase another shiny object, but I don't do it until I've laid the foundation and it's running on its own. Yeah. That's what I have done to overcome what you just said.
Yeah. You learned a very important principle of when you cross I'm gonna say the level is about $1 million in business. It is not you; it's your team.
That's right.
And it's your culture, and it's what you stand for, and it's how good of a recruiter can you be.
That's right.
And one of my favorite books, and I try to read it once a year, is Who Not How.
It's a great book.
It's one of my favorites. I think anybody that's on their up and coming journey needs to understand that true principle. That's me assuming that you got the basics of sales, marketing, basics understood, right?
Yep.
But who, not how is like so true.
Give me one more book.
I really like, there's a couple, but Scaling Up. I'm a big EOS. I seen a EOS paper on your desk.
Yeah. Traction.
Yeah. So Scaling Up, Traction, both of those books. Scaling Up is like the expanded version of Traction.
Yep.
It's like probably over 1,000 pages, but it will teach you how to scale a business.
Oh yeah.
Literally page by page.
That's the formula. That's the technical side.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's the human side. One of my must reads for everybody is Checklist Manifesto.
Yep. It's really good.
It's really good. It helps you stay organized to understand that process. SOPs is really, it's not the business. People think sexy.
Mm-hmm.
Sexy isn't how you make money in business or build real business.
No, that's how you may get lucky.
Sure. And the
but it's
product
not
might be sexy.
It's not going to sustain, because building businesses is about being able to replicate. And you can only replicate if you document.
That's right.
And you can only document if you're actually doing the non-sexy elements. Right?
It has to be repeatable.
It has to be repeatable. And people put undervalue of the repeatable documentation, the boring stuff, right? I have a head of operations at Sales AI, and he's like a drill sergeant, right? Like, I'm pretty sure there's an SOP on how to change our toilet paper, right? And sometimes I'm like, dang, dude, you're killing me with this stuff, right? But I look at how fast the organization has grown. In 9 months, we're at 81 employees. We're going to exit this year around 15 million in revenue.
It's phenomenal.
It took me 3 years to do that in the previous business. 3.5 years, actually.
Sure.
Right? Because I undervalued systems, process, documentation. But I learned that lesson. I paid those dues, right?
Mm-hmm.
So moving forward, it accelerates everything.
Well, and that's why you buy a franchise.
Right.
Like in my world, the reason you buy a franchise, yeah, you might like the product, you might like the brand, whether it's McDonald's or Everbowl, it should be Everbowl, but regardless of what it is, you're buying into the fact that, yes, you like the product and you like the branding, but you're also buying the process and the systems and all the things that allow you to duplicate the success of that brand that you have seen.
Yes.
Because when you start your own, you have to develop, curate, and create, and that is a hard endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why 95 out of 100 of those will fail and 7 out of 10 franchises will succeed because the process is there.
That's right.
This is a conversation I could go forever on, but
Me too.
we do got to jump into rapid fire.
Okay.
Are you
let's
ready
do
for
it.
some rapid fire?
All right, let's do it.
So you're going to stare into camera one.
Yep.
I'm going to ask you 3 questions.
Mhm.
First thing that comes to mind, 30-second minute answer.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Got it.
Ready?
Yep.
What's one daily habit you can't live without?
Journaling and gym.
What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Where focus goes, energy flows.
What is your favorite part about being a girl dad?
I would say the attitude and the just watching kids grow. You know, I don't know how to put it into 30 seconds. It's loaded.
That's fine. That's fair. I'll ask you one more.
Yeah.
If I asked your best friend to give me one of your best qualities, what would they say?
Consistency.
There you have it. I mean, you're a walking example of how you can go from hustle to remarkability, mastery, and success. And
I appreciate that.
there's a lot of people who have hustle and heart.
Yes.
They don't get to that next level because they don't get the formula figured out, and they don't get clear, and they don't get consistent. I'm glad you said that word.
Yes.
Because anybody can do something great once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be around and successful people, all the friends of mine that we talked about and friends of yours and successful people, if you peel back everything about them, it's their consistency.
That's literally the root of it all.
It is the root of it all. Well, Devin, we're going to have you back on
I appreciate it.
because I want to learn more about sales AI, not dot.
Yeah, salesai.com.
Salesai.com. I'm going to look at Sales AI. I want to look at it for Everbull and WeBuild, so we're going to have a conversation about that. And I highly recommend all of you dive into sales AI and AI in general. It is a technology that it's here whether you like it or not. It's going to change your business and the scope of your industry whether you like it or not. So you can either learn about it, use it, and get on the winning side of it, or like the companies that didn't want to adopt the internet in the early 2000s, you'll become extinct and a dinosaur. So this was important for two reasons, because your success formula and who you are had to be shared. And people need to learn from. But two, what you're working on is so prevalent and meaningful and right now that we need to get more people aware, because so many people still are not dabbling in AI.
Yeah, they're going to get left behind.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, every day we're using the Midjourneys, the Chat GPTs. We're playing with it in ways that are still elementary compared to what you're doing.
Sure.
But we're trying.
Yeah, that's right.
And I want to understand how to utilize technology to help grow all of our brands. So thank you for coming and sharing that with us.
You're very welcome.
And where should everybody outside of Sales AI, they also can learn from you?
Yeah. My Instagram is where I'm most consistent. It's just Devin, DVIN, ALLEN Johnson, JOHNSON. All one word, Devin Allen Johnson.
There you go.
Hey everyone. First, I want to thank all of you for tuning in. And if you guys haven't heard about my new book, Relationship Bank Account, click the link in the show notes or search the title on Amazon. This book is packed with all my secrets to success in both relationships and life. Make sure to pick up a copy, and if the book helps you on your journey, let us know by leaving a review. I appreciate all of you and can't wait to see you on the next one.